haunted by ghosts that lived in my past. Bound up in shackles of all my failures. Wondering how long is this gonna last? Then you look at this prisoner and say to me, son, stop fighting a fight it's already been won. And I am redeemed.
All right, it's Monday, the third day of June in the Lord's year 2013. I'm J. Michael McCoy along with Lila Stafford and Bob Montserrat. This is Recovery Monday, a show brought to you completely by Powell CDC. And we'll talk about Powell a little bit later. Father Tattoo is producing today. And our special guest today is Ray Lund. Ray, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
Good, good. We glad to have you back. We had you here once for a short period of time, but we didn't get the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth, isn't that right?
Today we get the whole
That's
story. So tell me, where are you from? Where's home?
Des Moines, Iowa.
Born and raised here?
Born and raised.
What school did you go to?
My mother was a single mother. She worked a lot, so I went to every school, it seemed like.
You went to every school?
I did. 10 schools in 11 years.
Wow. Did they kicking you out, or you just keep
We just
moving
kept
around?
moving. We moved
okay.
where she could afford it.
Yeah, that makes sense. All
You
right.
know, so I think my personality reflects that I try to make friends quick.
Sure. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. My daughter's that way.
Yeah.
So, what were you like as a kid? I mean, you know, it isn't easy moving
Right.
every year,
Only child.
making new friends.
Yep. Only child.
Okay.
My imagination was very vivid, you know, very creative, very, you know, just my imagination was my playground,
Okay.
you know, and I made friends easy, like I said, but the substance in those friendships wasn't very deep, wasn't
Okay.
very deep at all. And then that's when I would say I started lying. Making up things.
Let me ask you a question. Were they not deep because you were afraid of a deep relationship?
Yes.
Because there wasn't any, you never got to put roots down.
I was always knowing that we were going to move again.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, my mom did what she had to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Single moms are my heroes.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, this is nothing negative to say about mom.
No.
She obviously, look how you turned out. She did a great job.
And she's really supportive now.
Good.
She's a good lady.
So you went from school to school, and what were your favorite classes?
Math.
Really?
Math was my thing.
Okay.
I was a
Lila, ask her a calculus question. Let's test her on that, okay?
In third grade. In third grade, it was my but that was my favorite, math and reading. And so I loved to read and.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I love to read, and again, there was my imagination. It just took me wherever. You know?
And so, when did some of the trouble start?
When I can pinpoint the first time I was 11 years old. This is when I thought the trouble was going to be, and my mom, of course, single mother, worked, and I walked home by myself, made the phone call, "Mom, I'm home," and then took off and started meeting friends in the new neighborhood, and one friend that I made, we became very close, and her parents were gone all the time too, and they kept a stash of marijuana up on the top shelf in her kitchen.
Wow.
And that's
not necessarily cookies in the cookie jar.
That's it. Well, they were my kind of cookies back then, you know. But yes, and then that was my first experience, and I can actually remember the first time we were sitting there watching Days of Our Lives, smoking marijuana.
How old were you again?
11.
Okay, so fourth grade?
Fourth grade.
Yeah.
Yep, 11 years old.
Did you talk about it with other friends at school?
Just the ones that were coming over to her house after school too, and they had alcohol there too, and I wasn't a big fan of alcohol back then because I couldn't walk. I mean, I was young. I couldn't, and I was a lot smaller, and I couldn't keep my composure. You know what I mean? I couldn't, and when you first start smoking weed, I really couldn't tell I was high, but I was, and so that was my thing. And every day after school, call mom, I'm home, right down the street to her house. Just stayed there till whenever. And her parents were working parents too,
So it became an after-school pot party
all the time,
with alcohol.
all the time.
Nobody, no parents, no
Nope.
adults figured this out?
Nope. Or if they did, her parents might have, because they might have noticed some of her stash missing. But my mom, like I said, she worked. And I would still doing okay in school at that time. And then I would just go up to bed.
Okay.
My mom was tired a lot. And at that time also, my mom was an alcoholic.
Okay.
Or is an alcoholic. So she was drinking too.
All right.
She would work, come home. And I'm sure it was hard on her,
Yeah.
But, just finding out this history about my mom being an alcoholic, it all starts to come back, I couldn't remember. But I remember her always having a bottle of, what is it, JB?
Yeah.
Under the sink. And so.
So does she admit that she's
Oh,
an
yep,
alcoholic?
she did.
Okay.
She did.
So has she quit?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. It's been since I was 14.
Okay.
So 20 plus.
So watching your mom, did you realize that your mom was going through recovery?
No.
You didn't realize she stopped drinking or
Nope. started
drinking or anything?
I don't know if I just didn't want to see it or if she just didn't let me see it or if it was, it was just odd. But also at that time I had started smoking cigarettes too. Yeah.
4th grade?
12.
Okay.
And at that time, I think my mom wanted to be more of a friend than a parent.
Sure.
So we would she would buy cigarettes for me and we would smoke together. Yeah. And all my friends, my mom was the cool mom, up until 14.
Was she young?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, I mean, late 20s. Late 20s, I think, yeah. So, but now.
Were you a rebellious 14-year-old to your mother?
No, not until.
Now, why did you take so long to answer that?
I did at 16.
Okay.
16 is when it really started.
And what did you start doing at 16?
Whatever I felt like it.
Okay.
And my things to her were, and you say some of the worst things. I'm going to get a little emotional. You say some of the worst things to your mom. You weren't here. What does it matter?
Oh, ouch. Yeah. Well,
And
So it sounds like you were hurting inside.
and I hurt her
Yeah.
because it was,
Well, you knew what buttons to push.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm like, Mom, well, you would take me out and buy, and, one time I had a party and she bought the beer. And, at that time, I'm still under 18. It was before my first son. And so, and then if I say something to her about it, she's like, well, I just don't know why and I understand that you wanted to be my friend. You wanted to be there in other ways than you were before. But when I would say something to her about it, I said it intentionally to hurt her.
Sure. And what was that? Was that to push her away? Was that to show her the pain that you had inside?
Yeah.
You wanted her to hurt like you were.
And what were you hurting from?
Well, I didn't have my dad either. So my dad
Was he always absent?
always, but
Always.
I would see him on birthdays and sometimes during Drake relays. Or I'd get a gift or a card. He'd come down. He moved out of town when they were divorced when she was 3 months pregnant.
Okay.
So, of course, I knew who my dad was. I knew all that. And she let me make up my own mind about him, which I appreciate to this day. But the fact that I didn't have my father, that my mother was hardly there, I felt like, what right do you have to even say anything to me about what I'm doing? Nobody was there to tell me what I was doing right and wrong before, so.
And now that you're a rebellious teenager, she's not going to get a word in edgewise.
No. And I'm going to get pregnant. I'm going to leave my son with you. I'm going to go out and do what I want to do. I'm going to go smoke, drink, do whatever I want, and I'll be home when I feel like it.
Wow.
And that's how it was.
You were a tough broad.
It got even worse. I joined a gang.
Now, when you say a gang, help me understand what a gang is. Talk to me like I'm a 6-year-old.
To me, at that time, this is how I felt.
Okay.
Nobody else was there for me. These people wanted to spend time with me. They were there for me. If somebody said something wrong to me, they stuck up for me. It was a family that I always wanted. But then when I got in trouble and went to jail, the only person that was there for me was my mom. They weren't there. So, you know, I mean, I've told my family this before, and there's things that I have done that I don't know if I've hurt people. And to know if I don't want to know. You know what I mean? At 18 and 19, you shouldn't be carrying a gun. You shouldn't be leaving your son with a 12-year-old to be watched. And then you come home and you found out somebody shot at the house and my infant son's in that house. You know, and then the first thing on my mind is not how's my son, but where's my gun and let's go get him. You know what I mean? When your priorities are that mixed up, you just don't know what to do. You know? And that's where I came from. And this is hard for me to talk about because this is something that I don't talk about hardly at all, is that part of my life. But I've talked to my sponsor, and it's something that I need to be sharing.
The gang portion?
That is so opposite of who you are today.
I know.
It's just, I didn't know that about you. And what an uplifting message to people who may be mixed up with a gang right now for the same reasons that you were. And to know that you can get out of that and be sober and clean and lead a wonderful life.
It was hard. I mean, it was hard.
I've always been under the assumption that gangs, when you're in a gang, you are required certain tasks that would be against the law to maintain your status. Is that right?
That is correct.
So, like, what kind of things?
The things that I did is I was...
No, not necessarily
just
what
things,
you did.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. The things that
Please.
would be required, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
please.
Would be selling drugs.
Okay.
You would have a certain amount of income that you needed to bring in a week.
Really? Like a quota?
Yes.
Like a state
Where
patrol?
did that money go? To the gang?
Some
or-
to the person and then some to, yes.
But you
for-
never got it? You never got to keep any
That
of it?
person would have got to keep some. But it went for equipment, we'll say, and things of that nature.
Gang leader. Did okay, like, and what else? What other things?
And you know, if someone would be, I guess these ways, disrespecting someone, you were on task to handle that, which would be confront and make sure that it didn't happen again. I mean, I can speak about a certain fight that I was in, and this happened to be with someone who it was at a club, and we were required, we got into the club, like, I was 19, just had my son, and they let us in. They didn't care. It used to be called Celebrations. Do you remember that? They didn't care. They let us all in. There was some of us in there that were 16 and 15, and we would just go in there and just fight and just tear up stuff. And when I think about it, I just think about how lucky I am. Like, how blessed I am, I should say. You know, I've been stabbed 3 times in my back. And at the time when I was stabbed, I didn't even know it. The only way I knew is I drove a stick shift, and when I got home, my back was just killing me, and there's blood all over the back of my shirt, you know. And when I think about that kind of stuff, I'm glad I went through it because it has made me who I am. But it's just, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Ray Lund is our guest today. So honest, so poetic, so truthful, and so thankful. It's her story. We'll continue this on Recovery Monday, courtesy of Powell CDC. We have a commercial, an information piece that we wanted to run for Powell, but it is not in the right form. So we will have that for you next week. That's also causing our internet stream to bounce back a little bit. But hang with us if you're online. We'll be back live here on Recovery Monday.
Iowa Health
From the
is
Remax
now
Real Estate
Unity Point
Concept
Health.
Studios,
But this is about
this is
more than just
Webcast
changing
1
our name.
live.
We're thinking about healthcare in a new way. It's
From the
about putting
Remax
you
Real Concept
center of
Studios.
Iowa Health
From the
is
Remax
now
Welcome back. This is Recovery Monday, sponsored by Powell CDC. On the third day of June in the Lord's year 2013, Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat, along with Lila Stafford, my co-host, and Father Tattoo producing. My special guest today is Ray Lund, born and raised here in Des Moines. An awesome single mother. That's who raised her. Did everything she could to support her, but it was tough being a single mom, just as it is today. Ray went to multiple schools, started using drugs at the age of, what did we say, 11? 11. And started hanging out with a gang at age 16. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, I want to re-emphasize something here. This is not a bunch of kids in the neighborhood that rode Stingrays that hung around a corner and flipped the cops off when they drove by. This was for goodness sake, a real gang.
That is correct.
Guns, knives. Did you guys go after people?
Sure.
First of all, was there rival gangs?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So what was that movie? The Sharks and the...
Oh, that West Side Story?
Yeah.
Jets.
The Jets and the Sharks. Is it anything like that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. And so who was one of the rival gangs you guys had?
Bloods.
The Bloods. And what was your name? Or if you don't say anything if you're gonna get in trouble.
Well, I don't believe I can get in trouble. BGDs.
Okay. And so to get into this gang, what did you have to do?
Just be there.
Okay. I can tell by that head shake that we're not going to talk about that.
One.
All right. All right. So involved in this gang is criminal activity. You're drinking, you're using drugs. Is it anything beyond marijuana?
Yes.
So
Cocaine.
Every drug that came along.
As far as I know now, again, I was 16, and this could just be the naivety, but it was basically just cocaine and marijuana at that time. Now, I'm sure there could have been higher ups doing,
Right.
other things, but and alcohol. So, but that's about all I know of at that time.
Were any of these gang members from someplace else and they came to
Absolutely.
Iowa
Chicago.
to start?
Oh,
Yeah.
Chicago. Yeah, it
Because
started.
they thought it was fertile ground here for selling?
Yes.
I don't know if you know this, but we've had a Chicago connection going all the way back to probably the 2 generations before you. And I could name families, and I'm not going to, but I could name families that eventually became what we would call prominent families, which were part of the Al Capone.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I know the family.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
you were
it's-
born and raised here. Yeah. All right. So now, as a 16-year-old girl, did you have specific roles with some of the men, relationships with some of the men in that gang?
No.
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 So if you wanted to have a boyfriend, what happened?
I didn't.
You didn't
For
have
a while.
boyfriends?
No,
Okay.
not until I was a year after. And
Because you had
he
your son
had to
at
be
what age?
18.
18. Okay.
They had to be unaffiliated in my book. I didn't want them affiliated with anything.
Okay. And so the father of your oldest son, present, involved?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Well, no.
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 Okay.
No. But my other children's father has been there since he was 3.
Okay. Okay. So the first father not involved. He's what do you call them? Baby daddies.
Yes. He cocaine addiction
Okay.
in prison.
Okay.
And he was tested in prison and proven to be his father, and that's all I know.
Okay. All right.
And how old's that son now?
21.
Oh, that's right.
Wow. How's he doing?
He's doing okay.
Okay. Is he following the same road that mom did?
He could be.
He could be.
He could be.
You pray not.
I pray not. He has a job. He graduated high school.
Okay.
I talked to him yesterday.
Okay.
Has his own apartment. He's doing okay.
Okay.
Did you graduate from high school?
I got my GED.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
All right. So
94.
18 comes along and you've got a baby boy.
I do.
And how long were you in the gang?
19.
till you were 19. And why did you leave the gang?
Because I went to jail.
Okay, that's a good
And-
reason.
I realized that who my true family was. They weren't there for me. They didn't write me, and I wasn't there for long. I was a couple months, but they weren't there for me.
What'd you go to jail for?
Possession of marijuana.
Okay, so simple. That's a misdemeanor.
Yep.
So why did you go to jail?
Oh, I had lived out of town and wrote some bad checks for that too.
Okay.
So they ended up, I got just time served, but I ended up being gone on the checks for 2 months and all that stuff.
Okay, Polk County.
No, Cerro Gordo.
Okay. So when you came, so in prison, what was that like?
Well, it wasn't like prison. I don't think jail was like prison, I hope. But I was by myself. I had my mother wrote me, and that was it. But of course, at that point, my mother had said, "You're gonna sit,
Yeah.
You're gonna sit," and that was the best thing she ever did for me.
I was just going to say that was a loving gesture to do that for
Did you like that at the time?
No, I did not.
You were mad at her
Oh,
because she could have got you out.
oh yeah, because I was only there for a bad check charge. Like my it was like $100, $200 to get out. Nope, 2 months. I sat.
Okay.
I went to on the shuffle, as they call it, and I had to go to Waterloo, and it was brand new then. This little Black Hawk County is
Yeah.
where they put me until my court date,
Okay.
and I thought I was pretty tough back then, but I was there with a girl who murdered somebody, and she found out she wasn't getting her appeal, and went ballistic, and it scared me. And this is just county jail. I wasn't going to prison.
But you learned the lessons you were supposed to learn while you were there. in
For
those
a
2
while.
months.
Define ballistic.
Oh, she started throwing stuff. They had to grab her and tell her. I mean, she's a pretty famous case. They had to tell her, you got to call. I mean, they had to literally hold her down and put her in her cell. And when they put her back to her room, she was banging stuff. I mean, they had to put her in a jacket. I mean, and she was younger than I was.
Wow. All right, so you get out of jail, and we understand the difference between jail and prison.
Thank God.
Yeah, you get out of jail, and you are 18, 19?
18.
Okay, and your baby's with your mom? Okay, and you turned everything straight and went correct, right?
No.
Oh, I thought for sure 2 months in the county jail do that for you.
I was broke
Okay. Emotionally or financially?
financially.
Okay.
I started selling crack cocaine again
Did you go back to the gang?
for a minute.
Now, wait a minute. You can't answer that question that
For-
way without defining
For
it.
for a couple months.
Okay.
I got some crack cocaine, and I started selling it, and I was selling it out of my apartment, and I wanted to go out the next night. I was making good money. I wanted to go out the next night, and so I paid my neighbor in crack to watch my son.
Who is a year old?
Almost a year.
Okay.
And my mom came to pick him up the next morning to take him to a doctor's appointment, and he tested positive for cocaine in his system.
And how would that have happened?
He could have picked it up from my house. I'm not gonna lie. He could have, if I'm cutting it up and selling it, or she could have smoked it around him.
Okay. All right.
And so at that point, it was either they take him or I voluntarily give him to my mom, which I did at that time. And I had to go be tested, and I tested positive for THC. And at that time, it was serious. I couldn't be around him until I dropped clean, till I peed clean. And at that point, I figured I'd already lost everything. Who cared?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your son's with your mother. You trust your mother. Do you have a better relationship with her at this point, or is it just thankful she's taking care of your son?
Oh, we're a lot better now.
No, but I mean then at 19.
Oh, then? At that point, there was a little resentment
Okay.
because I said, Mom, they don't just voluntarily test for that stuff.
Right.
So you had to ask. She said, yep, sure did.
Oh, wow.
And again, you probably didn't realize that was
Nope.
to help you or to because she loved you.
For her grandson, her first grandson.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm an only child for her and for my dad. So that's her only grandchild.
Yeah.
And she's, and my whole time I thought, she's just doing this because she didn't raise me right. She wants another chance.
When you think
Me.
back, you just know how wrong you were. But you guys are okay now.
Oh, yeah.
You've made those amends,
I
right?
talk to her every day
And she knows how much you love her and knows how much you appreciate all the things she did for you.
now.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm a parent of 4 kids. And I've got a 26-year-old daughter that you remind me of since the moment I met you. Love her dearly. But there's nothing I can do to get her on the right track. And all I can do is sit back and love her. Because the first time I say something about something, well, Dad, take a hike. And we don't talk for 90 days. And as a parent, you don't know what's worse, to say what needs to be said and risk pushing them away, or just sitting back with your arms open to cradle them when they return. So, your mom's a good mom.
She is.
Okay.
She's a great lady.
So you've lost your kid. You can't get a through the probation system with a clean NA and the whole 9 yards. So what are you out doing now? You're 20 years old.
Well, at 20, I'm partying, just kind of partying, hanging out, had a job, and still had not experienced methamphetamine yet.
Yet.
Yeah.
Oh, no. So the next thing is meth.
Yep.
What's meth like?
At first, when I first tried meth, it felt like a helper.
Okay.
Helping me just get my stuff done, getting my daily things done, it's a speed. It's an upper. It's definitely a go get 'em.
Yeah, motivator.
Yeah, and
But did you need more and more?
oh yeah.
And you couldn't do without.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
I didn't like it when I didn't have it, but I wasn't in the position to have it all the time yet. And I don't think I was ever in that position. Like I quit using several times, but I never recovered like this.
Yeah.
And every time I would use, I would get a hold of this one girl, and I think I've talked about her before. I think Lila knows. And I always knew where it was going to go. We were friends since freshman in high school, and we'd sneak out in like during school, go smoke a joint under the bridge, drink a little bit. And when I got older, I knew that this is we were like this, inseparable, and when she introduced me to it, I was like, here, this is it. She's like, yeah, it's so much better, than smoking pot all the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm not just sitting there stuck laughing at people.
Ray Lind is her name. Recovery Monday is the name of this show. And when we come back, we're going to hear what happened to bring Ray around to Powell CDC and how her life has changed. Here live on Recovery Monday. it's Recovery Monday on this third day of June in the Lord's year 2013. I'd like to wish my father a happy 84th birthday today. 84 years old, and I'm sure he's listening in Hartford, Connecticut. Still has all of his, in fact, he's probably in better shape than I am, to be honest with you. Happy birthday, Dad. I love you. Thanks for being my dad. Okay, we've got Lila Stafford in the house today. She's my co-host along with Bob Montserrat, the cat in the chat. We are having some technical difficulties today, but if you want to, you can jump on the chat at webcast1live.com and watch this, and there's a chat there, and you can add any questions or comments that you might have, and Bob will read them off to us. Our guest is Ray Lund. No, never mind. I'm not going to ask you how old you are. Never mind.
38.
Okay, 38. Tough teenage life, raised by a single mother who did absolutely everything and more that she could, even played the tough love card several times. At age 21, he comes out of jail, back into a gang for a while, then got out of the gang, and then started this thing that I don't know if Iowans realize. We are the meth capital of the country. Forget this farmyards and apple pie and state fair stuff.
That's right.
We sit at 80-35, ladies and gentlemen, and every piece of drug that travels from east to west to north to south somehow gets scraped off a little bit here in Des Moines, and that's why we have the drug problem we do. All right, so you started using meth.
I did.
What was that like? You said it just raised you up and made you get done.
Yeah, it was lovely at the time. I mean, it made me feel empowered.
Okay.
Empowered, and that I could do anything. Just that I could accomplish my goals.
Were you working yet?
Yeah, I was working in a hotel as a maid.
Okay.
Cleaning, stripping beds, and then that helped that too.
Yeah, I bet you moved pretty quick. You were the queen of stripping beds.
Woo! To make a bed and strip one faster but get me in that bathroom and I'll clean that. It'll take me a little longer.
Yeah. Okay. So let's roll the tape ahead. When does life crash?
Well, in that time I went to high school with my two youngest kids' father.
Okay.
And we'd always been around each other. That trouble girl, her brother is my husband's best friend. So I've known him forever. And we decided, why not give it a go? Why not try it? And at that time, he did know I was using drugs. He knew that I was using meth and smoking weed and drinking, because that's what he did. But he's like, if you really want to give it a go instead of just, hanging out, that's got to stop.
Really? All of it?
No. Just the meth.
Just the meth. Okay.
So I said, sure. I didn't mind because I still had marijuana and alcohol. And then in 2000 and in the year 2000, I got pregnant.
Okay.
And that was it. That stopped my marijuana and my alcohol.
Okay.
And never smoked marijuana or had a drink since. But got pregnant again in 2003. Two. And had a hysterectomy in 2004.
Okay.
And my hormones went crazy. I went completely out of whack and decided, why not? Let's, without him knowing.
Okay.
Let's give my friend a call, see what she's up to. And at first, we're just hanging out, but I know where it's going to go. In my mind, I know maybe not today, maybe not next week, but in a couple weeks, we'll be getting high again together. And that's how it was.
And you wanted that.
That's what I wanted.
Okay.
And we did. And about a month later, I get caught. He's known me for so long. He knows that I'm using. He's like, stop it. You got kids here. Stop it. Now,
where's your oldest boy at this time? He
still lives with my mom?
Still lives with your mom. Okay.
She raised him.
Okay. I find it interesting that the state would take him away, but let you have other children. So, okay, but they're
10 years apart.
All right.
And Yeah, they didn't question them
Okay.
to at all. At the latest time, this was a little over a year ago.
Okay.
I had already called my friend, and he knew I was talking to her, seeing her, sneaking out, not going to work, saying I was going to work, and he says, look, he's like, and he sits me down, and for some reason, what clicked is he said, if something happens to me, if I die, I need to know you'll be able to take care of our kids.
Not if you died, if he died.
And that did it. That, for some reason, clicked in my head. So I stopped calling her, didn't tell her why, just stopped talking to her. I took about a month and then called a different recovery place who said they didn't accept my insurance and referred me to Powell.
Okay. So you self-introduced yourself to Powell. No pressure from...
Well, there's pressure there because he could have. If I'm sure it's on the line. I'll take the kids if it's not gonna,
Yeah.
But when he said that to me, those words to me,
What happens to the kids if
if I need to know you can take care of them.
Yeah. So you go into Powell, and what was that? How long were you there?
I did the outpatient from 9 to 3, 9 to 3 for about a month.
Okay.
And then did continuing care with Lila. And then I'm still trying to get to finish what is it?
You're a facilitator.
The
or you
facilitator's
train
training.
for-
Yes.
You trained for that. Got that.
Yep, got that done. And my schedule right now is not working, but I still want to do continuing aftercare. Yeah, but I got to meet Lila, and that was wonderful. The people at Powell are amazing. And I think I said it before, like when you go in there, you're even though I had a little bit of sober time where I was a little, I was not using, you go in there and you just feel like you're at your lowest low, and they make you feel like somebody. They don't treat you like dirt, they treat you like, we really want to help you. And I think I said it, they love you till you can love yourself.
That's a great line.
Yeah.
Bob's like,
Yeah, I had a question. You said it was outpatient. That means you got to go home in the evening or afternoon, evening. What made you not, use at that time? I mean, was it by your willpower not to want to go back there? I mean, because you could have.
Yeah, I think it's just for some reason Powell, and I don't know. Powell gives you these tools, and I never knew how to recover until I went to Powell.
okay, tell me what that means, how to recover. Because, from the other side of the street, I'd say, well, you don't use. That's how you recover. That's not it at all, is it?
They tell you this at Powell, and I think you hear it everywhere. It's not easy, but it's simple. You
Right.
just got to change everything. Change everything. And somebody told me this story that their sponsor told them to make the bed every morning when they got up. And they said, well, do you make your bed now? He goes, no, that's why. Just change everything.
Right.
Everything. And that's hard. It's hard work, but I guess you just have to be ready. They teach you, they give you the tools, they have you go through this process with other people, with other recovering addicts and alcoholics, and they have you go through this process to where you feel, you share, and when you share, you're kind of letting it go a little bit.
Little by little, you share, and you let the pain and the resentments and the anger go. When we come back from this break, Ray will tell us what her life is like now. Almost a year into recovery? Over a year. All right. We're here with Lila Stafford, Bob Montserrat. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job. Couldn't do it without you. On 99.3 KTIA and webcast1live.com. It's the third day of June in the Lord's year 2013. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC on 99.3 KTIA and webcast1live.com. The people that are going to join us each Monday with Lila and Bob are people who have gone through the Powell program, and they are living proof that recovery does work. As you said a minute ago, it's not easy, but it's simple. Is that how you said that? I like that a lot. It's not an easy to recover. It's not an easy to put the plug in the jug or put down the joint or get rid of the meth. But once it's done, how your life changes. So tell me what your life is like now.
Today I have 442 days clean.
Hey, I like this girl.
I know, I was just going to
She
say.
counts days. 1131 right here, baby.
Nice. I am very, I'm present. That's one of the best ways I can describe it. I'm very present. I feel when I said before that I was a good mom or I was there for my kids, I could have been, but, not like I am now. I'm present. I know what they're doing. They want to spend time with me, and I can remember what we did. Things, I'm working in a program. I have a sponsor. My sponsor is amazing. I have
You
true
do service work for
I do.
us. You post all my text every day.
I do.
On
And I love
Facebook.
doing it. I
Yeah.
love doing it. I do service.
What does she do for you?
She posts. We have a text messaging
Yeah.
thing that we send out a text every day to people in Powell or people that have graduated from there, and she transfers that over to Facebook for me every day.
the
Okay,
Powell
okay.
Facebook page.
Okay, all right.
And sometimes I put little funny pictures up or little quotations up. I'm a GSR. So I do my service work for my group, and I am happy.
Yeah. Serenity.
Yeah, it feels so. I just feel great. I always say never was going to be that person that says that, but it works. I wish everybody felt like I feel.
Yeah.
I wish everyone did too, because you are such a positive person, and to have you in our groups, you just you're the kind of person that people want to be around
Yeah.
because you are positive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't have a copy of the big book in front of me, but I love the promises. And it says in there, help me, when we are less than halfway through, we will know serenity,
Yes.
something
And
like that.
Something about, and then you're not going to worry about financial.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you see the promises start to come true in your life, it's amazing.
Yeah, when you first start in recovery and you read the promises, you think bunk. That can't be me. That's not my life.
When you see people at the meetings that you go to and you see people and you're like, you have how long?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what? I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
And here I am, when I made my year, I was so proud of myself. Like,
I bet you that was a party.
Oh man.
I wish I would have been at that meeting.
I just, I got up and danced and got my, and it's just, it's nice, and when I spend time with my kids, my kids think I'm a tad goofy.
You are.
And
Thank heavens.
They sit and, they're just like, I just love my family. And when I hear that, it just makes everything worth it. And I mean, to make the true friendships that I have now, like a lot of people, I have not had these friendships ever.
Yeah.
I mean, in my entire 38 years.
Yeah. Family. The true meaning of family. Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you a tough question. You said the gang was like family. Mm-hmm. And you said now the groups that you're in are like family. What's the difference between the two families?
The difference is the genuineness and the love that I actually feel from the families that I have now it's unparalleled.
They'd be there for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or
And
before it.
they have been.
Yes.
Yeah. Plus you've learned how to conquer fear. And fear was probably one of the mainstays in that other quote unquote family.
Sure. And I'm, the toughness was just to
Yeah.
cover it, and
Cover the hurt.
Now, how's the relationship with your kid's dad?
he's pretty silly. It's really good.
Good.
We're doing
Okay.
good. He's He thinks he's funny, but he's not. And I just wanted to say that so everybody could hear.
Well, that's so good that you still have that relationship, because in recovery, especially in that first year, we find that in a marriage, when that non-using spouse all of a sudden encounters this new person, they can't handle it, and so many times that relationship, disintegrates.
Oh, we're lucky that we're best friends. We're blessed that we are, because he's getting to know me.
Yeah, all over.
It's hard.
Yeah,
And he's brought that up. He's like, oh no, well, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're either. I mean, no matter what, we're gonna be here for each other, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I have a question for you. When you got sober, you had a job in a manufacturing place, and we don't need to name the names, but you chose not to go back to that. And has that helped? I think the
Yes.
environment had
Immensely.
a lot of drugs. Maybe?
Oh yes, access
Yes.
because of the shifts that we worked.
So you're making wiser decisions now.
And that was and you helped me with that decision.
You quit that job.
I did.
Okay. Well,
A very well-paying job.
playgrounds and playmates.
Yeah, and that was hard. And I'm lucky that I had Lila there and Powell, because I mourned a lot of that friendship. I told her during that time that I just can't.
Yeah.
We can't be around each other. We're just not good for each other. And that was hard. I cried. I cried.
Yeah.
But now I'm better off for it. I have the best family.
Well, and God uses us all in amazing ways. One of the things I found in being in this program is that those people that you sever those relationships with eventually come around and say, "Hey, I want what you got. Tell me how you got there," because there's still that bond, even though it's been put in a shoebox and put on a shelf. That bond can still be reunited and rebuilt when that person says, "I want what you've got." Makes
but
sense?
it'll never be on your timetable.
And
No.
I
No.
have a friend right now that's that won't have anything to do with me because I'm working a program and she feels guilty because she's using, so she just chooses not to talk at
Yep.
all.
Yep.
She'll call someday.
Yeah, she
Same
will.
thing.
and if she doesn't, it is what it is.
Right. But God puts us in people's lives so that we can be there
Yep.
to meet them where they're at,
Yep. Yep.
just like he does. He meets us where we're at. We don't have to go to where God is. Well, Ray, thank you so much. You're such a gem. I love you. Thanks for coming
I
in
love
and
you
sharing.
too. Thanks for having me.
Yep, I'm going to have you back again, and next time I'd like to have your kids on the radio with me. And I'd like to have them tell me, and maybe even your significant other.
He works. It will be hard to get him,
Okay.
but maybe.
I
Maybe I could talk. I don't know if that's when I see the kids. I'll ask them.
Okay. It'd be nice, though, just to have them tell me what mom was like before and what she's like now.
All right, I'll see if they would be interested.
Okay. Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, thanks for being here today. Thanks for producing. Father Tattoo through some tough stuff. Thanks to Powell, CDC, David Captain, and everybody down there. And Lila, thanks for you for being my co-host. I appreciate it. It's Recovery Monday. We'll see you again next Monday as we introduce you to more successful people living successful lives through Powell, CDC.